coronal holes are mostly polar confined. But the solar wind presented a slightly different story. Up top in blue, phi angle shifted this morning, bringing slight variability to the plasma stream, but ringing in the solar magnetic sector geomagnetic induction. Alert coming for Canada and the Midwest states tonight. That low is drawing a lot of energy up from the south and will trigger strong storms this evening.
Alrighty. Doc here from North America. Good morning, good afternoon, and good... Oh, that's not us. What is that? Let's cancel that out. There we go. There we are. I hear us. And there's the spreadsheet. There we go. All right. Let me kill the... We're getting a little more activity from the sun. And we're getting the solar wind itself more than anything else. All right, the sun itself is relatively mild at the moment. All right, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Doc here. Let's see, we're from North America, and we talk the markets. And we follow mainly the currencies and the commodities here. We do stocks, but we look at the stock indices more than anything else, nothing individual. Mostly just currencies. Like to look at the euro, the cable, the yen. We look at that. Swiss franc and Japanese yen. We drift into any particular currency anybody would like this. If we're not doing it, in other words, if we're not showing it, we will do it. If you ask a question like, "Hey, I'd like to see X," and so that's what we do here. Today, I think we want to try to start off looking at the euro as usual. Let's take a look at that. And let's put that up there, right there on Dookie Day. And who is that? That is right there. There we are. And as you can see, there's the euro trading at the 113s area. There it is on J4X. You can see it is moving down. It's having some weakness here with the solid line, which is a fast-moving stochastic. The dotted line is the slow-moving stochastic. They're getting ready to intersect. And then the bluish line is the rate of change. And we watch the flavor of the action. This is a daily chart here. And then what we do is we follow the rules of our quantitative chart right here. And there it is right there. There's the euro. And you can see we went into a weekly sell, or a daily sell yesterday. And I guess we went into the weekly sell on Friday. Did we do that? Let's check our spreadsheet, fact check sheet. Nope, didn't make it there. It's right on the edge. So it's an 8th weekend. No, yes, and cable did. Cable went into a weekly sell. So it's just survived by the hair of its chinny chin. Went into the daily sell here, and you can see we are already playing with a daily buy. Now, the way we work that is if we're in a weekly buy and a daily sell, we do nothing, or we take our profits from a long. But in case you have it a short too. But it's basically a long. We play the long side only, like right here where it went into a daily buy with the weekly buy. And then you saw the green dots, which was more affirmation or confirmation of strength. And it's a long from there. And then it goes up in value because our fact check Excel sheet basically is accurate 8.5 out of 10 times for the last 40 years. 40 years, yes. So there we are. And you can see we are playing with a daily buy. We have a green line in there at the moment because of that. And that's where we are. We're seeing this thing marching along. So is there any questions? No one's even chattering in. That's interesting. We like people to ask questions. Or at least give us something to look at, and we'll deviate from what we follow. All right, let's zip over to cable since it went into a weekly sell there last week. You can see here on, let's just finish that off too. You can see here on the J4X, whereas these two are still trying to lift up, this is driving down. So I guess there's going to be some pressure there. I don't know if the green is going to survive today. We'll see. All right, let's head over to cable. here cable comes. Let's go get ready for it on the Quant. You see, it's just basically going nowhere, quiet down. And it's supposed to be down. Let's see, what's a daily on that? See, now we're in a daily buy still. Oh, I see, yes. So we're in a weekly buy, and we're in a daily sell for 2 days on the euros, and it's trying to get into a buy there. And the cable is 1 week in a sell, but 8 still days in a buy. So again, another neutral situation. See, sometimes the market is telling us to do nothing, or what it's doing is it's telling us what it wants to do, and that is it wants to go up on a broader scale when it comes to the euro, but on a day-to-day basis it is heading down. And in this case here it's vice versa. The cable is slid into a weekly sell last week, and let's put that up there. And so we don't tell the market what to do, it's always telling us. And there you can see there. It went into the weekly sell, and look at that. It's already over the weekly buy number, and the daily is trying to go down now. So this is just telling us that they don't have any real clear direction. And when I say they, who is they? They is the marketplace. In other words, funds, institutions, central banks, more than likely more like central banks. They don't have much of a direction. They're just, and again, it's the summer. Even Janos is off today. So it just shows you it's the summer, everybody. The markets are slow and steady, bouncing around in all kinds of cute little directions, and steady in the sense that they are non-trending. The markets have a nature this time of the year, every year, to not be very trending, and that's exactly what's going on. Is it's not very trending right now. You can see that there. One is in a weekly buy, the other one's in a daily sell. The other one's in a weekly sell, and it's in a daily buy. It just shows you that there is no conviction in our market at the moment, which is fine, because that's the way the markets go. The market tells us what to do. We never tell it. And so we just follow our quant. So in this case here, you can see the daily right here, quant, is rolling over, and the weekly is jumped over the zero line again, and now we're back in, trying to get into a buy, and this needs to close at the end of the week to confirm that buy. But as long as it's plus and this goes back into a buy, you can be long. Now in this case here, it's like that. We are flirting with a daily sell. So we put a little line in there like that during the day, and then it confirms at the end of the day. And that's how we do that. All right, now what else do we have brewing here? Well, that's the cable. So we have two of the first products. They have no real clear direction. They're not telling us that they want to do anything particular. If you have a position in them, I can tell you, basically what it's saying is that the product is trying to go up on a weekly in one direction and daily on another. So basically it's saying if you have a position on, you're being very brave, because the technical analysis at this time of the year is really sloppy, because again, it's the summer months. But that doesn't stop us from trading, of course. Okay. Now, let's take a look at the Turkish lira. That's something we've been following for a long while. Fascinating to see it in that buy for so long, 31 weeks. And you see here, it went into a sell for a couple of days, but the line itself, look at this flat line that's going on. Emphasize it by looking at it through J4X. Right there. And you can see here, it's just banging along. See, look at that, really sideways action. I'm dumbfounded myself. We follow the geopolitics, we follow the economics, we look at the fundamentals, we look at, obviously, we are a developer of a quantitative style of trading that we can be ahead of the fundamentals all the time, like literally 9.9 out of 10 times we're ahead of the fundamentals. I have no idea what's going on over there. I mean, we hear some of the strangest geopolitical stories, and it seems to move it normally, but for some reason, it's not moving it anymore. which is very odd. So every time they went and bombed somebody or invaded somebody or did something to somebody, their currency would make an interesting move out of it. Now they've aimed their guns at French ships, nothing. Someone bombed their air base in Libya because they are fighting for Libya. I mean, they're fighting for Libya itself, not the country Libya, but they have 10,000 mercenaries there, and they're fighting. I guess they're robbing and pillaging. I guess that's what you call it. I guess no one's willing to say that, but I guess that's what's going on. Is they're pillaging. Maybe what they've pillaged is paying for their currency to be stable. That's the only thing I can figure. I mean, somehow or another, they have enough money to keep their currency really stable at the moment. It's beyond me. But when we follow the math, as you can see here, that's all it wants to do is go sideways. And it wasn't a sell. And you can see on line 17. Yeah, 17. 32 weeks in a sell. I'm sorry, buy. And 2 days in a sell. So you sell there and buy up at the top. Right there. Sell. Buy on a daily basis. Sell on a weekly basis. Buy on a weekly basis. And the numbers represent how long they've been in those trends through our Chicago Quant technologies there. That's what we call our chart nowadays. All right. What else can there be said about this? More than anything else, that I always have this sneaking suspicion in my heart and in my mind that it's taking the pathway of the South African rand and the ruble, the Russian ruble, and that one day the Chinese yuan and the Turkish lira, well, if the Turkish lira keeps up what they're doing, will be matching those other two products that we're talking about. It's something to see, it's something to think about. Those countries saw their currencies just go leaping up against the dollar enormously. So I guess that's a fair value in the end. Whatever the market brings, no matter who the market is, I guess it's a very strange circumstance because of the central banks now being able to generate money out of thin air. And why everybody gets along with that is really curious, but they do. So, all right, let's head over to Canada. And you can see on line 20, it went into a weekly buy last week, and it's in a daily buy. So it's telling us we should see this product be up. It should be going up. And let's go find out if it is going up. No, looks like it's falling down. Not much, but it is pressing down. And you can see on our quant, we're still holding up in there. I guess we've got to put a buy signal. Now what is that? That is a minus. Is that a minus? That's a minus. So that shouldn't be in a buy? It shouldn't be in the buy. It's still in the. Now what's going on here? So it didn't go into the buy here because these two were up, but this was red. So it had to wait for the next day. But the next day it closed down. That's Friday. So this should not be a 1. It should instead be a 1, 2, 3. It should be a 3 on the sell side. That's where it should be. And that's what that is. All right, now let's go through that as a rule. Now the way we work that is that, again, there's the weekly buy. It closed above it, and that's fine. Doesn't pay attention to dots. But on a daily basis, it does. So it went into the sell here because it was a red dot, and the black histogram and the white line closed in the sell. Okay. This went into a buy, so it had been in a sell. Where was it? Let's move that over one. So this was in a sell from there. So it went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days in a sell. Then we went into a buy from here. We can grab this buy. And that was the buy, and that's legitimate. And then it went into the sell here. So we make that a little bit thicker-ish. And right like so. And then what happened was that this went up, and this closed. So it automatically, the next day you can buy it, as long as the white line in the histogram are plus. But it didn't do that. Instead, they went into the minus. You can see plot 1 is a minus, and plot 4 is a minus. So it can't go into the buy there. So now, today, if it would close here, and we get a green dot, we can go into a buy, and we can move that over to there, like that. But right now, we don't have that. And so, but we are on the edge of that. So let's put that right there for tomorrow. And what we need is this to close here with a green dot. And you can see here, this is pressing down. So the pressure is on the weekly trend after being in a weekly sell from here and then going into a buy last week. It's already putting pressure on it on the downside. And again, that's why we keep on giving the caveat and the warning that this market is in the middle of a period where between like the middle of July to the middle of August, the markets have no real consistency. They're very sloppy. People are on vacation. People try not to put positions on. It doesn't stop the market from being wild, but all these things get stalled out because there's no continuity. But that's how you read our charts every day, and that's how we do that. And we'll take another one and we'll show it to you. And sorry about that, traders who look at the spreadsheet, that it's in that quagmire where it cannot get out of its own way, and it's still, excuse me, and it's still in its cell. But it's all over the place at the same time. But at least we know where it stands, and it's just going nowhere anyway. All right, now let's take a look at Swiss franc and see what that's been doing. Where that has been 7 weeks in a sell, it's been 8 days in a sell. So let's take a look at that. And as you can see here in J4X, for the Canadian, we'll finish the Canadian off here. This thing wants to go up. So that wants to go up. And here we got a down candle going. We got the rate of change trying to roll over. We do have the slow moving stochastic trying to move up. But overall, it's just a sideways nowheres market. And there's no reason to get involved unless you take your profits and run like a bunny. Like, whew, gone. Get your profits and go. All right, now there is the Swiss. We've been in that for a while on the weekly trend on the downside. You can see it's been going down for, what's this? There's 28 weeks. So about 7, since back up in here, up in the 97s and 98s, we went into a weekly sell. Let's put it up on the Chicago Quant. And so you can see here, went into sell here on a weekly basis. It wasn't a daily sell, so that was nice. It was a fun ride. It gave you a move all the way down to here. Remember, markets don't go in one straight line. They're always zigzagging around with like that saber tooth or sawtooth look to them. And then the product's still playing with underneath the sell. Even right now, you can see that. But look at the daily. The daily is trying to lift up. We had a volatility signal of a green and red dot. And here enough, we are getting a green today, which will probably knock it out of its 8 weeks of, where is it at? Let's highlight it on 21. There it is right there. It'll knock it out of its daily sell. But the weekly is not charged in the right direction for it to really matter any. It just means that if you've been playing the short side from up here in the 97 area, basically it's saying take your profits. But it's told you a few times on a daily basis to take your profits. And and here it's trying to actually make that move. But again, our weekly, you can see, is still down. So this is probably just another little bounce. We'll see. Sometimes dailies can lead to weeklies. But it's not. It really is not doing anything. And again, I keep on reminding people, like every 2 minutes, it's dead. The markets have no clear direction. There's no continuity. If you're going to trade this market, you better get in and get out. Hop like a bunny, in and out, because it's that time of the year where up today could be down tomorrow. It's more normal for a poor trend to occur this time of the year, every year. And that's been the history of this market. If you look at even if you look at the Trader's Almanac, the Trader's Almanac is the same way. It's telling you that this time of the year, the summer months, are very non-trendy and sloppy. I quantify it down to after the 4th of July to basically going into the 3rd week of August. And you see here, look at the fast-moving stochastic. It is ripping up on the upside, just like our math right there. Now our histogram is moving up there. We'll see how well that does. And you can see it's been an interesting situation with look at that triangle that formed from the coronavirus situation. And it went down, made new lows like all the products did. And then it bounced a little bit, but we've been in a sell now since late May. So back in here. Back in this area here. We've been in the sell when it comes to the weekly trend itself. I hope I'm being informative enough. Thought we would try to emphasize our rules a little bit more clearer today. This way you have a chance to understand it a little bit more. And then what we do is we look at the J4X. It gives us a little bit flavor of our math. Not a lot, but putting two stochastics together, overlapping with each other, and watching the rate of change gives it a lot more gusto, you know. It's very interesting there. All right. Now let's drift over to the yen. Let's see how the yen is doing. And there it is right there. And if anybody has a question, please be my guest. Ask. If you have a stock you want, not a stock, a currency you want to see, or a commodity, you know, metals. We follow gold and silver and how about that? Remember, everybody give Giannis a happy birthday today too. It's his birthday. We follow all those things. It's your birthday. Happy birthday. Yes, indeed. All right, now, there is the yen. What's our spreadsheet say about that to start off with? That's line 19, right? So we're 4 weeks in a sell, 6 days in a sell. You can see here, the product has been moving sideways down for the last 6 days. This is the 7th day now for our math. But look at that turn up it's got going on there. Let's slide this over to the Chicago Quant right there. What else can we say about it? We've been in short on a weekly trend. So this would be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Somewhere's around in here. Let's see what the date is on that. Let's take a look at it on the Quant. Yeah, so it went into the weekly sell here, and it broke down the first week and a half with no problem. Went back up, didn't get into a buy, broke back down again now, and today it's lifting up. It's been in a daily sell since there, and that's because the white line and the histogram are minus, and the bar itself had no color, and so it was fine. It was very easy to see that go into a sell, and then it gave us red dots for the last 4, 5, 6, 7 days now. So interesting. Do we have that off by a day? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, this is 8th day. So in the yen, is that 7? Let's just double check that. I think I had 6 in there. So it's 7 days in a sell. There we are. And today is the 8th day. And you can see the simple pressure, nothing major. This was interesting, this buy here for the hump there. And you can see it even went into the daily buy there. And then a couple days later, it zipped to the moon. the Quant does a good job of keeping us honest. You can see here on J4X, basically the same formation, or same situation. That is that the white line fought its way up from minus, jumped across these two lines here, and caught the trend, telling you that there was some action to come. In our case, we were a little bit more ahead because it's our math, and it's more sophisticated. I mean, it's not a public indicator. There you go. Hey, Daniel, how you doing? Daniel Merchant. I like that. Wasn't it Daniel Trading before? I like Daniel Merchant. Can we see Dow 30? Sure. I'll show it to you on two forms. Let's see. Here is my weekly chart of it. Let me show you that, which is very interesting. And we're going to go to J4X. This is what I pay attention to a lot. You can see it's trying to break out here today. You can see the weekly is jumping back up. This thing fell into the sell-on last week. Again, what a sloppy market. And the other three indices were plus: Russell, S&P, and Nasdaq. And then let's put it on J4X here. Right there. Is that it? Right there. Yeah, that's it. And so, yeah, you can see the strength there. Now let's look at. Let's see if we can look at it. Well, you can see the intraday. It closed in a daily buy yesterday. Green through the zero line, the yellow through. It's going through the time manifold. It's telling you not to be short for this today. That's for sure. Maybe tomorrow, but not today. It starts off a weekly sell with a daily buy, so it's awful hard to deal with that. In other words, you can't fight that, so it's a neutral. And so one thing, now I was involved in this. Let's see, where's that at? Right there. And you can see that daily buy, weekly buy on the S&P 500. It just flatlined there for the zeros. Being a daily buy, without a doubt, kept us there. And now it's trying to lift up here today. We're already out of that. Got out of that about a half hour ago. So that's where we are at the moment. And that's the S&P 500. Now the Nasdaq has been in a buy since remove that. Where's it been? It's been in a buy since here. It's just been chugging along, and it's been in a weekly buy forever. You can't get this thing to go into a weekly sell for nothing. Look at that, all the way back to there. So that's there's a lot of strength there. Now the Dow, she's got the older stocks, and she's got those companies like Boeing and so forth that are more influential on the indice, whereas it does have Apple in there, and it has Cisco in there, and what else? Do they have any of the other FANGs? Doesn't it? I don't think only FANG it has is Apple, which is enough, So it does not have Amazon. It has 5 Nasdaq stocks. It has Microsoft. Microsoft's a goodie too, part of the FANG group, you could say. So it has Apple and Microsoft, and it has Intel and Cisco. And let me see if I can find out who else is in there. But I think it has 4 of the Nasdaq stocks, which is like heresy, for the old New York Stock Exchange, who doesn't exist anymore since it's owned by a futures exchange now. The Continental, or what do they call that? The ICE, International Continental Exchange, owns the New York Stock Exchange now. So it's a very, it's a small, the Nasdaq is the one that trades all the volume now. So, they're trading the New York stocks, they're trading the Nasdaq stocks, they're trading everything on the Nasdaq. So, they have the Philadelphia listing. They bought the Philadelphia Stock Exchange, the Nasdaq. So what they have the ability to do is compete with all the New York stocks. And so their volume is it's like 50 to 75% if not better, on a given day, more than the New York Stock Exchange. The New York will do 1 billion shares a day, and the Nasdaq will do like 4 billion shares a day. So that's where that's at. So okay, I hope we satisfied that, Daniel. All good there? Cool. All right. Let's see. We had just left off with Yensky, right? So did we even look at? I can't remember what we saw with the yen. Let's take a look at that yen. I just want to go back and refresh my mind. Dollar yen, right there. Oh yeah, we counted it off. I fixed the 7 to 6, 6 to 7. That's what I did right there. And then the weekly sell, which happened in here, gave you a nice sell-off, but then it took it all back, and now it's giving it to you back again. So that's the math. That's the way she rolls. She's good like that. All right. Now, where are we going to drift to? We go over to the NASCAD, and from the NASCAD, normally we look at the Canadian and the NASCAD, and then we look at oil. So let's look at NASCAD to start off with. I hope I'm being a little bit more informative of how to read our Chicago Quant charts, our algo. It's our algo. And we have this on the J4X that helps you try to emulate it on some level. All right, there we go. And let's put NASCAD on here at the same time. And there's the NASCAD. And on the spreadsheet, we are 8 weeks in a buy, 10 days in a buy. You can see this thing's just been doing a nice fine job up. There it is right there. There's the weekly buy in the NASCAD. And we've been in the buy in the daily since here. Let me put that line in there. Right there. Guess, yeah, right there, that one. And it's been a nice little run. And I'm sure when we go and look at oil, let's do it on the J4X. Right there. When you look at the oil, it's probably firm overall. I think it closed in a, what did it do? It closed in a daily sell? No. Oil is 10 days, 10 weeks in a buy, 1 day in a buy. Okay, so it went into a sell, came back into the buy. And that's what that's doing. You can see this is trying to break down in here on the J4X. So let's take a look at it. Normally when the NASCAD is moving up, usually oil is moving up. And you can see it's NASCAD is also what, 8 weeks. So it's like the 10-week thing here. We can go like this. So that's 8 weeks. This is 8 weeks. That's 10 weeks. This is 10 days in a buy. This was in a buy, oil for a while. Is that oil? No, that's NASCAD. And let's put the oil up and take a peek. Take your peek right there. Activate. All right, there it is. And so you can see oil window sell just a day ago, and then now it's back into a buy. And what's it doing today? It's trying to go into a sell again. So it's being a sloppy little self, but it has that same trend as the NASCAD climbing up from a couple weeks ago. Hey, Frederick. Hi, how are you doing? I'm doing good. Doing good. You know, I'm trying to explain my algorithm a little bit more today. So I think we'll be calling this the title of How to Read Doc's Algorithm, something like that. But we're looking at all the products like we always do. And it's a summer doldrums, you know. We're in that middle of the summer going slowly nowhere, you know. Ooh, I'd like to see that again. I just deleted something I'd like to see again. It was a physics thing. Darn. I should have gone back to that. I wonder if I can get back to that. Bummer. All right. So yeah, we're doing fine. Just watching the markets move, see the virus slowly drifting away. I was reading a new study out of I guess China and the United States and a few other places. Scientists took a lot of data from December, and what probably scared them more than anything else is this particular virus was like the Cyrus virus, Seer virus, and that it infected 3.12 people for every person that had it, whereas the normal flu is usually it's 1 point something, like 1.2, and so that's why they locked this down. They tried to flatten the curve, and they did. Now they're kind of paranoid about it. I don't think they can be too paranoid about it, but they are. And so that's where we are at the moment. So now, let's see what we got going on here. We're looking at the oil. Do you have anything, Frederick, you'd like to see? We can put it up there. I always like to look at something that someone wants to see. You never know where the next good trading idea is going to come from. So, it's always worth having someone say something just to give us a general idea about what possibly is worth watching. You know what I mean? You never know. Remember, we're not on exchange floors anymore, so we have to be proactive, not reactive. Most of the stories you read are reactive stories, how they made their money trading this, that, or the other thing. But it was all during a reactive time and on a trading desk or an exchange floor where they had the opportunity. Now, you notice none of them are rewriting books about how they've done the last 30 years now that they made that money. You notice that they kind of gum up real quietly. Now, that's a good one. We do have a European chart. Let's go take a look at that. Let's see, where is it at? Let's see if we can find it. We have the SOXX, and we can get that. What's it? The Zetra DAX on Dukascopy. So we got some things there we can do. What's up with that? Oh, we're using the wrong mouse. That's why. Let's see, not there. So let's close that. Excuse me. That's what happens when you're gnawing on things and talking at the same time. All right. Now let's go take a look at the SOX, and we'll look at the Zetra DAX and see how the math is lining up to it. Let's see, stocks. Would it be there? Yeah, I think it's going to be in the stock combo. There we go. All right, now this is the SOXX, and it is it's the ETF in the United States. There it is, right there. And it's been in a weekly buy all the way up until, I guess it's still in a weekly buy going in this week. That's last week. It closed in a weekly sell last week. There we are. So let's put that in there. I myself think that I kind of am thinking that the markets are possibly going to top out, because of this astrological thing that always kicks out this time of the year with the Earth and all these other planets in line with each other, and they're all on the same side of the solar system. So people who follow that can make things more like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Now you can see this is the SOXX, and it's doing that. You can see the Dow Jones Industrial Average in the United States went down last week, but is trying to climb up. Now we'll see how that holds up if everybody joins in on the sells over there. As you can see here, I think then the DAX on my spreadsheet right there went into a weekly sell last week, and the FTSE is 2 weeks in a sell. So now let's drift over to them at this moment. And so there is the Zetra DAX right there. I'm sure it's firm somewhere along the line, right? Yeah, so it's looking firm, but it's still up there. It could be, for those that do the Elliott wave, it could be the W or the A the B and getting ready to do a C. And like I said, there is a big astrological thing going on. Matter of fact, I can show you. Can I show you in writing? I think I can show you in writing, or I can show you. Let's see if I can do this. I can put it up on the screen. It's probably even better. So let's go there. Trading. And let's see if we can find it. And you never can count out these astrological traders. They can have great influence on the marketplace. And so they make it a self-fulfilling prophecy. And they jump on things. Let's see. Let's see. We'll get there. I just have to sign out here and then sign back in again. And then we're going to put it up on the screen, and I'll show you what I'm talking about on this astrological, which wouldn't surprise me if it put pressure on Europe first, which we're seeing already. They're in weekly sells. And then you could get 3 or 4 weeks of some negative action there. So here we go. We're getting very close. And I'm going to put it up there, and you can take a look at it. And this is from a writer who puts out a free astrological thing for a long time. Let's see. Let's delete that. And then let's go to trash, because I did delete it already. Let's see. We'll find it in a second. And when we do, we're going to put it up on the screen. And I'm not sure if they show you. Then I have I can show you on a planetary basis what it looks like. And it is what it is. I myself like paying attention to the astrological solely because I know a lot of people do. Now I know that there we go, right there. I found it, and we're going to scroll to the spot on the short term, and this is by a author called he puts this out for free, so we can see it. Merriman, and does a nice job. And I wonder if I can make that bigger. There you go. Here we come. Here it comes. It's going to be up on this one right here. Right there. Okay, and so basically it says, let's see. There it is. Right here it's talking about it. About the July 14th. Here it is right there. I'm going to highlight it even. The most important cosmic pattern. Let's see if I can do that. There we are. The most important cosmic pattern looming ahead may be the triple solar opposition of July 14th to the 20th. This is when the Sun will first form an opposition to Jupiter on the 14th, and then followed by opposition by Pluto by the 15th. Speaking of which, has lost 30% of its atmosphere over the last 3 years. And finally, in an opposition to Saturn and the new moon on the 20th. Each are level 1 geocosmic signatures, which represent a highest correlation to primary or quarterly cycle or greater cycles within 10 trading days. In fact, the Sun-Jupiter and the Sun-Saturn opposition have a 50% historical rate of frequency, 50 to 50 week or greater cycles. So in other words, if the market's been going up for a year or so, which it has, it could be a topping out pattern, even with the crazy blast that we got. And they include that in there. They say the solar planetary pair cycles market means that there's a chance that an important crest for a second crest is now or may soon be forming. Okay, so in other words, they're looking at it and they're saying, that big sell-off we had. They're saying we could have another sell-off. It just more than likely, in my mind, it won't be as big. Okay. Oh yeah. It's historical, and this Merriman, he does a really fine job, and and documents all his work, and he puts out a free one every week. And then let me show you one other one that will give you a visual of it at the same time. And this is another freebie, that you can get without subscribing to. Let's see, how do I get there? Let me do this. Let's go back to the chart for a second. And where are we at here? Oh yeah, right there. Okay, there we go. And didn't realize it was just right there on my screen. Okay, and this one, which you can find in many different things, looking at the planets. And there it is right there. And let's put it up there. There it is. There we go. It's loading now. And let's show you what we're seeing. All right, there it is. So now, let's see if we can, what this does. And so here you can see how it's basically showing itself right there. See if we can make that up, something like that. And you can see right there. See if we can make this bigger. That's the planetary alignment that's going on. So what's happened is that if you notice, here's the sun, and none of our friendly planets are on this side of it. They're all over on this side of it. And so you can see right there. And so let's see. What we see is that you can see that everybody's on this side of the solar system. And so that has an effect. People do trade money and gold and oil to these things. So you know that they have some influence. Something's got to push a market. Why not that? I mean, we know fundamentals are not that much more or less than anything else. So that is what's going on. Everybody's on this side of the boat. I guess that's the best way to describe it. Everybody's on this side of the boat in the solar system. So and it probably has some effect, sociological, physiological, mentally, who knows. So that's where we are. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we found the European markets topping out in here and going sideways, and you can already see it on our work. We've moved into a weekly sell last week in the Zetra DAX, 2 weeks now in the FTSE, and so for the European markets, I would imagine that. Quad Z, what's happening, Quad Z? How do you like that? We're really grooving today, aren't we? We're doing astrological with our charts, and we're doing it all. And we're doing J4X. We're rocking and a rolling here. It's Party City. Well, we're celebrating. It's Janos's birthday. It's his birthday. Happy birthday, Janos. All right. So that's where it's going. You can see that is what it is. So that is the action, and that would that alone. And Merriman's very big in Europe. Oh my goodness, he does lots of webinars over in Europe. So it wouldn't surprise me if European money is trying to be cautious and take a profit, and they may put a little charge on the downside. Do I think we're going down to 18,000 on the Dow again? No. Do I think we can break 2950 on the S&P? No. But there could be some pressure here. I mean, here we are at 32, so that tells us alone that there's some hunger to be, the markets are at the highs. You can see here on the DAX, it's doing that ABC thing that we see on the J4X, right there. Now let's look at the S&P. And you can see the Dow also. The Dow is trying to do that ABC thing. And we even went into a weekly sell on the close of last week. And it's already climbed over into the weekly buy. So, that they may trap some shorts. Shorts may get nervous. That type of thing. With earnings season about to kick off, do you think we will see a rally in stocks? I think we will. But I don't think it's going to be right now. I think it's about 3 or 4 weeks away. I think we are in the doldrums. I've been saying that over and over about it to everybody, and I'll be saying it for the next 3 weeks. I will tell everybody that we are in that very passive, dead time of the season, the summer season, where money doesn't commit as much. They'll do something. They'll nibble here or there, but I don't think they're going to come in with any real fanfare, especially with the presidential election, until they get a better flavor of it. But right now, it looks like Mr. Trump is going to moonwalk his way right into it with no problem. Everybody's telling you how the polls are down, and he's down just like he was against Hillary Billary. And what do we see in the end result is she loses big time in the Electoral College, which is the thing that elects our president. So what do you think? We are not a democracy. Let me just say that. I don't know why people keep on talking about like majority rule and democracy. We are not a democracy. We're a republic. We're a democratic republic that the minority have as much power as the majority. So that's the difference. Let's see. So Daniel says, with earnings season, okay, we answered that. And Frederick is saying, what do you think will be the impact of the 750 billion EU economy program? I would think it would be positive. I would imagine most of it is for rollover, though, isn't it? What do you think, Frederick? Don't you think that a lot of it has got to do with the rollover? Things that are maturing, and so they're just going to use a lot of it for that. Do I think that they're going to initiate, more buying, like stocks and all? I'm not really sure about that. To be honest, I don't think there's enough stocks out there in Europe for them to buy. That money will find a way to end up in the U.S. market. That's the problem. I mean, incorporations and new companies evolving in Europe have diminished dramatically. I mean, when's the last time you really saw an IPO in Europe? Initial public offering. I mean, very few. Brussels has made sure that every existing company has an opportunity to exist without it being a good company and a profitable one. So that is really the noise, I guess you could say, of the issue about that whole thing. Let's see what this is. So that's where we are. And I guess that's the best way to look at it all, is that you have to, keep your eye on the lackadaisical side of the fundamentals. When we talk about fundamentals, there's more than just earnings and economic stats as fundamentals. There's also fundamentals in the fact that people do the same things, and the traders do the same things year in and year out for most of their lives. And that is that they take summer vacations, they get with the families, and even with the virus situation, people still are following through on a lot of the activities that they were doing before. So let's see, meet the webinar over in, what time is it? 6 minutes. 6 minutes. There we go. And so, let me do that too. Oh no, I just hit the wrong button there. So yeah, that's another fundamental that people don't talk about that I'm talking about, and that fundamental is that basically people, they do other things, I mean, that's really what it comes down to, is they do these other things this time of the year, and it's a habit, and it doesn't go away. Financial labs needs to be brought out of the universities. Your thoughts, please. Financial labs need to be brought out of the universities. I don't know much about the financial labs. I know that there's a tradition of teaching some of these fundamental concepts like earnings and economic data. My two sons have economic degrees. I would have been happier if they would have gotten science degrees. That's what I wanted, but they were having too much fun playing for 4 years. And so they graduated with economic degrees. They are computer literate also at the same time. So the good thing is that they do a lot of computerization, and they are making more money from their computer side than they are their economic side. And their economic side justifies that they have a brain. So I guess that's the way I put it. So anyway, but I'm not really sure. Can you elaborate just a little bit? Like when you say financial labs need to be brought out of the universities, your thoughts? I'm not really sure if they're innovative at all. I mean, if I'll tell you to be honest, the only way that I would say that if a university is teaching derivative option trading, that should be the number one class. There should be option derivative trading 1. There should be option derivative trading 2. There should be advanced derivative trading quantitatively. There should be, in other words, they should have, there should be a degree in advanced derivative trading. And if you don't see that at any university, as far as I'm concerned, their financial labs, as you call them, are worthless as far as I'm concerned. Let's see, ucalgary.com or CA. The University of Calgary? Are they teaching? Let's take a look at that. Let's do it on this machine because I can bring it up and show you at the same time. So we get rid of that and go like that. And so we're looking at the University of Calgary. See if you would think it would jump right out on Google. They must be hated. That tells you right off they must be doing something right. University of Calgary in Alberta. Okay. And University of Calgary, and let's see if we can get a go to the finance department homepage. There's their Facebook page. Oh, that's really nice. Oh, it looks like a nice university. Let's see. I think we're running out of time, but what I will do is leave this up here, and I will actually look into their department and see if they're teaching derivatives. I mean, that to me, I keep on thinking about offering the local university near me now that I would go over and lecture. In derivatives. They have taken this approach, having a lab at the cutting edge of technologies. I'm going to look at that, and we'll go. Come back tomorrow. We'll take a look at that. I think that's important because the fundamentals are worthless at this point. They they just don't have the success rate of what's been going on. So anyway, this is Doc from North America, and we'll look at that tomorrow. Because boy, it would be great if a university would actually pick up using some of this stuff here. Not my stuff. I mean, just using derivatives. I mean, you know who does it? Wharton University. University of Pennsylvania. Wharton does. They teach derivatives. They do. Because I hired a couple of the young guys from there. They were very skilled. So, all right, this is Doc from North America saying goodbye, and we will catch you tomorrow. Happy trails. Hey, MHB. I was getting ready to sing my song. Happy trails to you until we meet again. Especially talking about University of Calgary. Happy trails to you